university, and certainly going to a big university, a lot of people want to go to a big university, but I will tell you personally, from having gone to a small college and to a big college, I got along better at the beginning by going to a small college, because in a small college, you can get more help. You can get more attention from your teachers and from your professors. And when you're first going to college, that makes a huge difference, especially when you're going to college in a foreign country. Often when kids come to America and they go to a very large college, they get lost. And I mean lost in the sense that they're one of many, 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 many students. So unless they get good tutoring, or unless they get a good support system, they may not get all the help they can get to get the best grades. And that makes a big difference when you're new in the college experience. So finding scholarships may also be more attainable at a small university. So when you're looking at universities, oh yes, everybody would love to go to Harvard and love to go to Yale. However, scholarships are very competitive. It's a very big college, and you may be lost in the sense that there may be so much competition for tutoring and so on that your request is, way down the list. So I would really encourage you to look at smaller universities rather than huge, big universities. Okay, let's see, next one. Oh gosh, this was a good one. Don't count your chickens before they're hatched. Let's see, who else wanted to read? Angel, did you
I'll
want to
let you
read?
read. Yes.
Please do.
Don't cut your chicken before they hatch, meaning don't be overly confident in your profit before you have them in your hand or in the bank. Origin.
Aesop.
Aesop
Aesop.
wrote a story about a woman who had a basket of eggs. She was crying on her walk. She was imagining how much money she will make when she sold her chicks. She was so disrupted. She tripped and fell. The basket of eggs was dropped and all eggs broke. Example, I spent the money I planned to earn, but then the job was cancelled. I shouldn't have counted my chicken before they hatch.
Very good. Very good. So this is a very old story, dating way back to Aesop's fables. And so remember, Aesop was a man who wrote small stories about observations that he made. And the don't count your chickens before they're hatched was one of those observations. So don't plan to spend the money before you have it in the bank or have it in your hand. All right, let's go to the next one. Oh, this one was fun. Who would like to read this one? Margaret. Oh, we're on the same page. So go ahead and read this one, Margaret.
Yes. Good morning, Chef. And
Good
try
morning.
up the wall, meaning make someone extremely hard, irritated,
Mhm.
exasperated, or
Exasperated. Very good. Very good.
annoyed. Origin to drive headlong meant to be in control of situation. So if someone is doing something so annoying that is making you lose your wits, then you are being driving crazy, nuts, mad, or even up a wall. Example, my little brother bangs his drum when I am on the phone. It drives me up the wall. Related idiom is enough to drive you crazy.
Okay. All right. Thank you for reading that, Margaret. Very good. I threw in a very big word here, exasperated. So this is when you're extremely irritated. Imagine being on the phone and your little brother is banging his drums. And I had a little brother who would bang his drums, and it did make me crazy because, little brothers can be that way. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now, this is an interesting one. Someone brought this one up, and I thought to myself, wow, it's been a while since I heard that. And that saying is Coon's age. So let's see who would like to read this one. Hlang.
Meaning a very long time. Origin, the relief was the raccoon lived a long time. This saying has fallen out of popular use. Since now we know that raccoons don't live that long, just a few years. Isn't it? I haven't seen him at Coon's age.
So Coon's age is a very backward kind of expression that people would use who live maybe in the mountains or in very rural areas where raccoons really live. Raccoons are nighttime animals, and I'm not even sure if they're in other parts of the world. I know that we have them in America, and we have them in rural areas, meaning, not in the city usually. And we found out that coons do not live that long. They all are very similar in appearance. They have a ringed tail. They have a mask on their face. And I should have probably put a picture here, but they thought that raccoons lived years and years and years and years and years and years and years, kind of like turtles. We know that turtles can live very, very long. And some of the turtles in the ocean can live, 100 years. But now we know that raccoons only live about maybe 3 to 5 years, maybe a little bit longer. So that's not very long. So that's why you don't hear this. This is not a very common, expression any longer. Okay, that probably would not be one that you would see on the exam. All right, fall on deaf ears. Who would like to read this one?
Hello.
Hello,
I
how
I
are
would
you
like
today?
to, uh,
Okay, Grace, did you raise your hand?
yes, I would like to read this one.
Yes, you may.
Yes, for on deaf ears, meaning ignore or disregard
Very
origin
good.
used before the 16th century in relation to political advice or police. Example, our advice to call off the project fell on deaf ears. Related idiom, turn a deaf ear.
So this is an ear that doesn't hear. When the saying is the advice fell on deaf ears, that person is ignoring the advice. They're disregarding or they're not paying attention to advice. And usually it's in relationship to like political advice or policies and so on. However, it can be used to talk about when you go and ask for advice from, let's say, a lawyer or a teacher, or you go downtown and you have to get some official documents and they tell you, well, you need to go do this and you need to go do this and you need to go do this. And then you don't pay attention to that advice. That's turning a deaf ear. So let's go to the next one. Take it with a grain of salt. Now, let's see. I don't think I've met Zach yet. How are you, Zach?
I'm fine.
Would you like to read this one?
Area.
Go right ahead.
Take it with a grain of salt, meaning few claims that are not verified, very particular, or with precaution. Again, from ancient times, and antidote was translated take with a pinch of salt. Example, you have to take evidence says with a grain of salt. He is known to uh,
Exaggerate.
exaggerate related idioms. Take with a pinch of salt. British.
Okay. So this idiom can be heard in America, take with a grain of salt. And then in the UK or in Britain, it can be heard, take with a pinch of salt. So it came from ancient times where a gentleman had transcribed the anecdote to a poison. So there was a poison and he was giving the anecdote. And when he was talking about the anecdote, he said, or I'm sorry, the treatment for the poison, he said, take this with a grain of salt. And as you can imagine, when there's poison, that's meant to kill somebody, right? Or it's going to do you a lot of harm. So taking the anecdote or taking the medicine at that time, they would be very careful when they would take their medicine. So this means be very careful, cautious, skeptical, approach that very, very cautiously. Like, you know, if you're talking about taking medicine, you would take it cautiously. Okay, next up. We went up. Rule of thumb. Somebody brought that up earlier. And let's see. Who would like to read? Did I see Oliver respond last time?
Hello.
Hi, Oliver. Would you like to read this one?
Yes. Rule of thumb, meaning an approximate way of doing something based on experience, not an exact measure, a general way not based, and theory. Origin, rules, measurement of an inch was the width of the thumb. Example, as a rule of thumb, I check my mails every morning.
Okay, so this is approximate. I would imagine that you have a ruler or you have some way of measuring things exactly. But if you don't have that ruler in your pocket, you might use your thumb. So that theory was that the width of the thumb was an inch, or the rule of thumb was that the width of that thumb was an inch. And we know that there are so many different thumbs, right? So that's just an approximate measure. It's not exact, but just in general, I'm going to do such and such every day as a general idea, as a rule of thumb. I'm going to do this. Well, there might be days that things happen that I can't do that, right? So as a general guideline or as a rule of thumb, I'm going to do this one thing. Okay. Oh, this one has come up several times. Kill two birds with one stone. And we've talked about it, but I thought I would include it today. Who would like to read this one?
I would like, teacher.
Please do.
Kill two birds with one stone, meaning solve two problems with one action. Origin from Greek mythology, the story of Daedalus, who killed two birds with one stone to use the feathers to make wings and escape the labyrinth. Example, cycling to work kills two birds with one stone. It gets you to work quite exciting.
So we're trying to do two things at once, right? Especially in the morning when you're getting ready to get up and go to work, or you're getting ready to get up and go to school. You're trying to do a bunch of things at the same time. So you might be looking at your phone while you have breakfast. So you're doing two things at the same time, killing two birds with one stone. That was a very long, this is ancient Greek. So this is very long time ago. And so that saying is very, very, very old. Okay, so those are the idioms that I prepared this time. What kind of questions do you have? What kind of idioms have you found that you have questions about? Let's see, who should I ask? Let's see, how about Gracie? Did you find an idiom this past couple of days that came across your reading or your YouTubing or watching a podcast?
Yep.
What was that?
Wait a minute, please.
Sure. Say it again.
Wait a minute, please.
Wait a minute.
Yep.
Well, that's very literal, isn't it? So that would be, hold on. Wait a minute. Maybe you have to catch up with the other person, right? Or maybe you got a text from your mom and you have to respond right away.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. Okay, who's next?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great, and I have a question.
Yes.
And Wimpy Kid.
Oliver, I'm having a hard time understanding. There's some background noise. Can you say that again?
Wimpy Kid, I mean.
Can you put that in the chat? Let's see, did I get it? Wimpy Kid, okay. So you know that's the name of a book, right? Wimpy Kid. So when someone is not courageous, they might be considered wimpy. They don't stand up. They kind of shrink, and they don't come to the front of the line, or they don't take initiative. That might be considered a wimpy kid.
Yes. And I saw it in
I see from Rebecca, blind date. All right. Sometimes our friends try to help us out by setting up dates for us. And that would be considered a blind date because that's not one that you have seen the person or have met them face to face, or even, through the internet, or even by FaceTime. But that's blind date. You're going not having seen the person ever. So you're doing that very trustingly. And my suggestion is that if you go on a blind date, that you go to a very public place where there's lots of people. Bend over backward. All right, that's a good one. Let's see who said that one. Mike Cool. Backward. Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Fortune favor the brave blood.
Gracie, can you say it again?
Fortune favors the brave blood.
I still didn't hear it very clearly.
Oh, okay.
Maybe put it in the chat for me. That would be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about bend over backward. If you want to put your idiom in the chat, that will be good. And I'll go to that one next. So next one is bend over backward. And when we're trying to help out someone, you might hear the phrase, he bent over backward, meaning he did a lot to help that person out. He went and he did a lot of work to help that other person. So that's one that I will come to later, and I will include that on maybe on our next class, because it'll be interesting to hear, to see where that actually came from. Hit the sack. Okay, so hit the sack. All right, does anyone remember when we talked about hit the hay? Hit the hay and hit the sack are kind of very similar, because this is relating back to when we had our mattresses made out of hay, and the hay was stuffed into a big sack, and we would use that hay-filled sack for our mattress. Some people still have very basic mattresses, and some have very sophisticated mattresses. So hit the sack means I'm ready to go to bed. I'm tired and I'm going to go to bed. So it's a fancy way or a funny way of saying it's time to go to sleep. Okay, dangerous time favors dangerous men. Okay, I have not heard that one. So I'm going to write it down and I will go look it up. And remember, and I didn't put it in this one, I didn't put it in this particular presentation today, but remember there's like 61,000 expressions. Now, not all of them are going to be on the TOEFL exam. My understanding is that there's about 100 to 200 on the TOEFL, or, you know, at different times they use different ones. But there's a group of idioms that they use. One of them is beating around the bush. One of them is touch base. Those are very popular, and you can get comfortable with that because those are ones that you probably will hear over and over. Let's see. Gracie. Fortune favors the brave. Okay, fortune, yes. The brave, very good, Grace.
Thank you.
Yes, fortune favors the brave or the bold. So think about the people who were the explorers, the people who set off on the ships. And let's just say Marco Polo or Magellan. They made a fortune because they were brave. And they went out there and they risked their whole fortune. And sometimes they risked other people's money too, because, you know, to take a ship full of people, because they had to have sailors to help them sail this ship, and they had to have food, and they had to have water, and they had to have all of those things on the ship, that they were risking a lot to go and find new countries and new territories. So fortune favors the brave. Yes, it is. You know, it does favor the brave. It does favor the bold, but it also is very risky. So that's one that I will also do on our next time. I think that's a really good one. Thank you for that. Go bananas. Oh, I love that. Well, thank you, Kylo. That was a good one. And the really funny thing is that just before we got together on the Zoom call today, I was watching a video that my daughter had sent me. And it was, a video where she's trying to teach her baby how to say banana. And So my grandbaby is trying to learn how to say banana, but at the same time, she has her teether, which is actually in the shape of a banana, and she's going all crazy over this teether. So she's munching on it and she's looking at it, and my daughter's saying banana, and the baby gets all excited because she loves chewing on this banana, and she also loves eating banana. So when she actually gets a banana, she goes all wild and she gets all happy. And so she goes banana over bananas. So go bananas. So think about a monkey. Now, you may or may not have monkeys where you live, but when it comes time to give the monkeys bananas, they go crazy because that's like their favorite thing. Different, obviously different monkeys and different types of animals like different foods, but my particular grandchild loves bananas and she goes bananas over bananas. Okay, we talked about the calm before the storm. Remember that before a storm comes, especially a big storm, like a hurricane, like a typhoon, like a big thunderstorm, there is a change in the pressure. And it creates a lull or a calm. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but I don't know. I've said this before, but I was a nurse. I still am a nurse, but I'm not working as a nurse any longer. Once upon a time, many years ago, I worked in the emergency room. And before the big storms would come, we would have this lull. And in that lull, things would change. People get headaches during that time. The second thing that happens is babies are born during that time because the pressure changes. So the calm before the storm brings different things in different places. The calm before the storm, we want to get things done before the big storm hits. So before you have a typhoon, you might have warnings that go out, right? Warnings that go out and they say, there's going to be a typhoon. Get ready. Get your water, get your milk, and so on. So in that calm before the storm, you want to get caught up so that when the storm hits, you're ready. Wow. I really, okay, let's see. I'm not quite sure, Lynn, what you're trying to download. Let's see. I'm going back. Hold on. Eat like a horse. A real go-getter. Real go-getter. Okay. I'm writing these down so that I can make sure that I find hit the nail on the head. Okay. And I'm not quite sure, Lynn, what that is you're trying to download. We'll see if Tien can help us. Win hands.
I think it's a raccoon.
Is that the raccoon you're trying to download?
Yeah, yeah, the picture, the raccoon
It's a
picture.
raccoon.
The coon's age, Jean?
It's a raccoon picture.
Yeah, I just
Oh.
sent the raccoon pictures. Yeah, the animal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Best of both worlds is actually how that expression goes. Okay. This time, today, for this particular class, I didn't have as much time to get all the pictures together. Okay, so let's see. To eat like a horse is meaning that they're eating a lot. Horses eat a lot. So that's someone who is having a big appetite. A real go-getter is someone who is very, very motivated and gets a lot done. To hit the nail on the head. So you know what a nail looks like. When you have that hammer, the hammer hits the nail on the head. So you hit the nail on the head means you got it exactly. And then win hands down. So when we're playing cards, someone, let's just say someone wins every hand, they win hands down. So they win every hand. There is actually a better meaning for that, and I will look that up. Best of both worlds is how it goes. And so this might be, he has the best of both worlds. He lives in the country, but he can work online. And so he doesn't have to go to work. So, oh, ignorance is bliss. Oh, wow. They say that until you have to pay your taxes and you didn't know you had to pay them. So, okay, ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss, meaning, you know, if I don't know it, la, 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 if I can't hear it, la, 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 then I'm not responsible for it. So I don't know if you've ever done that. I don't want to hear it. I'm not listening. I'm not looking. But when we are trying to be aware of our neighborhood, aware of our town, we definitely want to be informed about what's going on. So ignorance is not always bliss, okay? It can be when you're a kiddo, because the real world, or the world of you know, paying bills and going to work and so on, is not all that fun to know about. So ignorance is bliss is a very good one, and I think that's probably worth going and talking about that next time. A drop in the ocean, very similar to a drop in the bucket. So in other words, it's just a little piece in a big amount of information. So, oh, I was able to put a few pennies in my savings account this week, but it's just a drop. It's just a drop in the bucket. It's just a drop in the ocean. You write that down. Drop. Let's see. Hole in the wall. Okay. Okay. Hole in the wall. There's a lot of wall sayings. One of them is fly on the wall, I could just be a fly on the wall, then I could hear everything that's going on. A hole in the wall, that one, I don't know about. But there are a number of wall sayings. And then someone brought up, it takes two to tango. Easier said than done. Okay, it takes two to tango. I'm thinking that quite a number of folks on the class today have heard this one because we had that a couple of weeks ago. Does anybody remember what a tango is?
Dancing.
That's a dance, correct. And it's a beautiful dance too. In order to do that dance, the two partners are very close. That particular saying is that you can't have an argument without two people, okay? It takes two to tango is about having an argument or having a confrontation or having some kind of a disagreement. And actually, the tango itself is actually a picture of a couple having a fight. So if you go look at it, if you go and put in YouTube and put in, let me think, Dancing with the Stars, tango, you'll see some dancers, different ones, doing the tango, and it's a type of an argument where the girl's not looking at the guy's not looking at the girl, and they're still dancing, but they're having a confrontation. Okay, let's see. Bark up the wrong tree. All right, that's an interesting one. Okay, bark up the wrong tree. Up the wrong, well, we covered several hunting type idioms, and this is one of those hunting type idioms. In the past, many years ago, and even still today, hunters may use dogs to go hunting, okay? And they take their dogs, and the dogs are given the scent of that animal. And so the scent, the dogs follow that scent of the animal, and they chase. And hopefully the dogs get and corner that animal. Sometimes they chase that animal and the animal goes up the tree, and then the dogs are barking at this tree, but the animal, let's just say the kitty cat, jumps to the other tree, because they can do that when the trees are real close. And so guess what? The dogs are over here barking at this tree, and the animal has already jumped over here to this tree. They're barking up the wrong tree. So what that means is you're going down the wrong idea. You're chasing the wrong idea. We covered that one a couple of, maybe three classes ago. But yes, it's basically you're going in the wrong direction. Get your act together. Well, that's kind of like barking up the wrong tree. You don't have it all together. You're not doing, or you're not following the right line of reasoning. So that's, how can I figure this out because I need to get my act. So I need to get my script right. I need to get my topic and my argument right. If I were an actor, I have a script, okay? And I have a script that I have to memorize, and I need to get all of my lines memorized, right? So that I'm together and I'm ready. And so I would need to get my act together. That's a really good one. And I'm going to write that one down. Wow, you guys are coming up with really great ones today. Thumb someone's nose. Oh, that's an interesting one. So there's a lot of expressions related to hand gestures. And this is one of those. Different nationalities have different hand gestures. This one is, thumbs up. That's a good thing, right? In some countries, that means number one. In America, number one is this hand or this finger. So different hand gestures mean different things. Thumbing someone's or thumbing is kind of derogatory and it's disrespectful to that person. So that's, a derogatory statement towards someone. Haywire. Let's see. Remember we were talking about driving somebody nuts? Haywire is about the same. When you're going crazy, when you're going wild, things are going haywire. Now, I really got to find out where that picture is, because that is a good, let me look and make sure if I might actually have it in this particular book. Let's see. This one has a lot, but it does not have that one. So I have several books with me today, but that is not in my most favorite book. Okay, let's see. Actions speak louder than words. When we're actually doing rather than speaking, meaning we're doing the work rather than just talking about it. Actions speak louder than words, and that's a really good one. Actions speak louder than words. Okay. That is a lot of idioms today. Well, I have to say, you guys have really brought it out. I'm just totally amazed. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think you guys brought out 20 idioms today, a bunch of which you didn't find or didn't have before. So I'm really excited about that. And I thank you for doing that. I am going to share my screen again, and we're going to go to this one. There's one that I'd like to close with, because I think in today's world, I feel like we need to emphasize protection. He shall cover you with his feathers. The word picture here is so powerful that, God is here and he is ready to cover us and to keep us in refuge, in his refuge. And that word picture is of the mama, who's the mama bird, who's covering her babies with her feathers. So I'm going to close, at least I'm going to close my portion, and I would like to pray for each one of you today. And dear Father, you are so precious. And I thank you for each one that's joined me here today. Please bless them on their journey as they're learning the materials that they need to learn to take the next step in going to college. I pray that you would surround them with your protection as they read and study, and go before them to help open their understanding. Thank you for your presence